Nas Rusa 200 miliona, nas bez Rusa pola kamiona, which in translation means, us and Russians are 200 million, us without Russians are half a truck. Guess who thinks so? Our Slavic brothers, Serbians. Hello everyone, you are on Buyan channel and I've arrived to one of the most ancient cities in Europe, Belgrade. A city without a metro, but with love for Russia. Moreover, it has the largest mosaic in the world. There are 15 million of those little bits here, and the most unusual experiments with lightnings. I'm scared. I still did manage to tame the weather with their help. It could all be good, but not for the rain. In this episode, I'll share my discoveries. Can you imagine, almost 100 years passed, yet their names still survive? And I will show you amazing, hospitable and very cozy Belgrade. Get ready to be amazed. A journey through the capital of Serbia begins. There's no need to persuade Russians to come to Serbia. We're in the top 5 countries where tourists come from anyway. And it's no surprise, we don't need a visa to come here, they love Russians here, a centuries-old friendship as it were, and of course, mutual Slavic roots. However, this beautiful country can surprise even those who has been here multiple times. For instance, with ski resorts, best in Europe health resorts, ancient castles, stunning landscapes, authentic cuisine and unusual traditions. In this trip, I only managed to visit the capital, but it also stunned me. However, I found a way to show you not just Belgrade, so wait for it, there will be surprises. One could say the city of Belgrade began from here. This impregnable bastion is Belgrade Fortress. Its walls were laid 2000 years ago, and during this period they endured more than 100 battles. But antiquity is antiquity, yet the most breathtaking thing here is the view on the confluence of 2 rivers, Danube and Sava. And if you look carefully, you can distinguish their different colors. The fortress has numerous perfect places for selfies. Well, this is the perfect spot to take photos. And don't forget that I'll leave all the locations in the video description. Can you see those houseboats behind me? I'm not sure what's the right term for them. On Fridays and Saturdays they turn into nightclubs. As things go, many battles have been fought here. Historians have counted that there were more than 100 of them, and this monumental structure has not always been able to withstand the attacks. The fortress was destroyed almost 50 times. Luckily, a lot has been preserved. 12 gates with wooden bridges and a defensive moat circle lead to the fortress, a full immersion in the Middle Ages. The fortress has upper and lower cities. Here are the ruins of a Roman village, remains of a Byzantine castle, artillery platforms, farmsteads, churches and utility buildings. The structure is massive. I don't want to change the scope, therefore I'm headed to the most majestic building of Belgrade. I'm next to one of the biggest Orthodox temples in the world, Saint Sava Temple. It has been under construction for a century and has surpassed in size the legendary Hagia Sophia Temple in Constantinople, modern Istanbul. History of origin of this temple is rather tragic. On this place, on the 27th of April 1595, upon order by Ottoman Grand Vizier Sinan Pasha, the coffin of the first Serbian Archbishop Saint Sava was burned. This saint was a national hero, and such a desecration of the relics was a monstrous humiliation.
And since that time, this place has always been revered as much as it was possible. There has always been a chapel or a church, and the church of Saint Sava has been here before the construction of this monumental building began. The idea for building this monumental structure appeared in relation with the tricentenary of the burning of the relics of Saint Sava.
The First World War first prevented bringing the plans to life, then a complicated situation in the country. Up until 1939, there were only walls standing instead of the temple. Then the building became impossible due to the Second World War. In spring 1941, Belgrade was heavily bombed by German pilots. Saint Sava's temple had it rough as well. After the war, they could not immediately return to the construction of this monumental structure. As a result, only the dome was completed by the late 80s. The grand opening happened only in the beginning of the 21st century. I'm looking at everything that surrounds us. The only question I have, is this gold?
Yes. This golden background here, besides the aesthetic part, it also plays a significant theological role. This is definitely gold, well, actually gold leaf. This is glass that is mixed or, so to say, cooked with gold at very high temperatures. Little leaves come out that are, well, basically gold leaves. There's a low percentage, but when it's applied to the surface, such effect comes to life. As to the mosaic itself, it is, well, it's an eternal technique. Now, around the world, even ancient mosaics are being discovered, even new ones, all the time. They are as if they were made yesterday. Therefore, it's a very resistant but also a rather costly technique. But choosing something else for such a building would be, you know, a bit improper.
A large-scale project to create decorations in the temple has become another symbol of friendship between Russia and Serbia.
With the help of God, with the help of our people, with the help of the Russian Orthodox Church, our state, the Russian state, we have a lot of sponsors. One of these sponsors, for example, is Gazprom Neft Corporation. This dome that we are looking at, it is the idea, the central dome is the idea of the overreaching sky. It is pretty much a gift from Gazprom Neft. It is 1,200 square meters of mosaic. It is a kind of covenant, a promise that we lent to the Lord and Saint Sava, but at the same time it became a symbol of the brotherly and friendly relationship between the Russian, great Russian people and Serbian Orthodox nation.
Never before have contemporary artists been faced with such an enormous task. A huge surface with a mosaic with a storyline. We're talking about around 15,000 square meters area. Tell us please about the mosaic storyline that is depicted here.
The storyline composition of this mosaic follows the templates of the Orthodox architecture and pictorial art, Orthodox art. That is, that there are certain main features that can be seen in the others. This temple itself sublimates, it focuses and gathers our entire medieval tradition.
Just look at this striking mosaic. It's a true work of art, and one can proudly say that it's a joint work of Russian and Serbian craftsmen. 300-400 years ago, the best craftsmen from around the world were invited to Russia to decorate temples, but now it's the other way around. Orthodox temples of Japan, USA, Mexico, Croatia, Italy, Israel nowadays invite our craftsmen. I was told that Nikolai Alexandrovich Mukhin is sitting behind me. It's a person that manages all these works here. I don't really count on luck, of course, but I'll try to walk up to him and ask to talk to us. off camera for now. And I was really lucky. Nikola Alexandrovich had a free minute. He couldn't give us too much time, as the works in the temple are still ongoing.
This project, there is nothing like this in the history of art. To have the entire volume being solved simultaneously. This synthesis of art is so-called symphony of stone, metal and the walls. This is the uniqueness of this project. We did everything at the same time. And, of course, it was an unbelievable work tempo.
Looking at this mesmerizing mosaic, we have no clue about its actual size. And it's gigantic. Just imagine the height of the Savior is comparable to the height of the 5-story building.
The Savior there, right? The handspan from finger to finger is 17 meters, 35 centimeters.
You can't tell from here, though.
You can't tell at all. When we finish, count 18 steps from the box there and turn around. This is just the handspan, like this. And this entire curve of this part is 30 meters. And the head is 4 meters. And the head of this one there is 2 meters. You see how small it looks up there. And this all had to be calculated, counted, the right scale had to be chosen so that it doesn't look too little or too large, but exactly right.
And that, obviously, is far from being the only difficulty.
The temple is not just a random mosaic made somewhere. It all has a particular scenario. This scenario has details, there are accents, there are pauses, there are meanings to this, meanings in the foundation.
I'm looking at all this mosaic and I can't even imagine how much it weighs.
300 tons. What we brought and installed, because our maths are simple. A lorry went over, it was weighed and it returned. Those huge vehicles, they were endlessly sent over. I don't even know how many exactly. It stopped counting those lorries. And all in all, we've installed, my engineer counted it, 300 tons. And 50 million of those tesserae.
I'll admit, I really wanted to hold a module in my hands. This is what craftsmen call a piece of smolt they use to create a panel. This is what mosaic looks like. And imagine such little pieces. There are 50 million of them. 50 million! And it's all assembled by hand. Imagine the scale of this work. The main dream a craftsman has is so that their work brings joy to people for as long as possible, better for numerous centuries.
Mosaic is a durable material. If you don't hammer a wall every day, it will last for as long. It will be everlasting. 6th century mosaics. Wipe them with a rug, they'll be the same.
Can you imagine them in 200 or 300 years?
Let's go for 700.
In 700 or even 1,000?
It sounds much better, it does.
People will come and...
The Russians made it.
Russians made it.
It is important. It is. It's not a meaning of life to think about the eternity. An artist shouldn't think about it. People who think that are the ones who come asking, when was it made? Oh, in 21st century, it's 32nd now. Oh, it's interesting.
From Belgrade's main spiritual center, I head to the geographical one. It looks like something grand is cooking here. I'm in Belgrade's central square. As you can see, a stage is being assembled here. There will probably be a concert at the weekend. This square is called the Square of the Republic, but in Serbian it sounds as Trg Republike. So the word is made of only 3 letters, trg, trg, with no vowels. Such a peculiar word. As it goes, city's main buildings have gathered on the square. National Museum, theater and a cultural center. By the way, I found out that Serbians like to say, let's meet by the horse. It turns out they talk about this monument. As you can see, it's not just the horse but the rider too. This is Prince Mihailo. Serbians treat another their compatriot with even more respect. he invented the 20th century. They say so about legendary Nikola Tesla, who was born in the Austrian Empire, worked in France and USA, but considered Serbia his homeland. Therefore, his personal belongings, inventions and works he bequeathed to Belgrade for safekeeping. And now I have a chance to pop into his legendary museum. The Tesla Museum is just like the extraordinary inventor. It's not just classic displays with exhibits, though there are things to amaze you. In the museum, one can take part in a dangerous experiment. And I'll admit, it's scary. However, first things first. Can you show me something that was most significant for Tesla?
So we have a lot of his clothes and personal items. It's interesting, people usually ask us if he just wore white gloves. But he didn't. We have gloves of all kinds of materials and colors.
Glasses is his.
Yes, it's original, as well as this bag, which is very beautiful.
Made of crocodile skin, by the way. At times, we don't even have a clue how relevant Tesla is today. And it's not about Elon Musk's cars.
I don't know.
What Tesla's inventions do we use every day?
Every time when you switch on the light, you can remember that we are using alternating currents. It's actually Tesla's inventions. Before Tesla, they were using direct currents, which wouldn't be transmitted to long distances. And also, he was a pioneer in the field of high frequencies and high voltages, so he was the inventor of radio. Speaking about the small devices which could fit our pocket and which would be able to make contact between people all around the world.
And now the first experiment. The air here is literally electrified by the great physicist's inventions, and everyone can feel like a Zeus. I'm scared. It's painful. Well, unpleasant. It's not like this pain. It's like you're getting electrocuted, but not bad. It's when you know what it'll be like. It's scarier to put your hand there. But the most interesting here is the giant Tesla coil. It creates lightnings, and what a miracle, a bulb in my hand lights by itself, though it's not connected to anything. Magic.
Ready?
Among other things, Nikola Tesla worked on a teleport machine, and even ran experiments they say rather successful. But as such a machine still has not been invented, and during this trip I won't have enough time to see other cities of Serbia, I came up with a much easier way. Attention please, my Serbian friends are on the line.
My name is Natalia. I'll tell you a bit about the mentality of these wonderful people. Is it easy to interact with Serbians? They are friendly, very positive, always come to the rescue, to help. And here people communicate on an equal footing, regardless of their financial situation and status. Serbia is this island in Europe where they really love Russians. Is it true that they don't give flowers to women here? Well, flowers here aren't like in Russia. Men do give flowers, but for celebrations. People here are more practical, so to say. What's the point in buying flowers you'll throw away in a few days? Is it true that Serbians never hurry anywhere? As you can see, they're sitting in a cafe, ordering their drinks, drinking coffee and smoking. But they don't rush anywhere, calmly enjoying their life.
Thank you, Natalia. I will tell you about Serbian cultural leisure and more. Well, cultural, as we are in Novi Sad, cultural capital of Serbia. My name is Ivan, and we are on the central square in Novi Sad. Serbians consider a museum inside the four walls more for tourists or school kids, or perhaps to go there with a family, alright. But in principle, the entire Serbia is a museum. Here every corner is highlighted in literature, marked by some event. I'm not talking just about the cities, this applies to villages and townships. Novi Sad, top cultural place, rich on various festivals. And we all love spending our day in kafana. When I'm asked whether Serbs love kafa, I say, you have no idea how much, but you don't quite understand what the talk is about. They don't just love coffee as a drink, though they certainly do, but they love it as a part of life. Right now we are in a kafana. It's a cafe, derivates from coffee. It's like a cult place for Novi Sad. This is a real former tram. It ran a route for nearly 90 years, from 1911 to 1998. When you are in such cult kafanas, the true type kafanas, or as they say in Serbian, pravi kafana, the real kafana, women are rare. Rare guests there. This causes a bit of a puzzlement among those sitting inside. It's more of a male venue, male lifestyle. Women are the keepers of the home. An important moment if you consider marrying a Serb. People here are softer. An anecdote about one of the Novi Sad residents depicts it especially vividly, about a so-called Lala. One day, Lala comes back home, catches his wife in the act of cheating. He takes a deep breath, leans on the doorframe and says, "I'm going to kafana now. If I hear there what I just saw here, you're in trouble."
Thank you, Ivan. Hello. My name is Dasha. I've been living in Belgrade for 4.5 years, and I'm a guide. I invite you to this improvised picnic. Here are traditional Serbian snacks. It's what they prefer for lunch or dinner, pretty much every day. I'll tell you what the most interesting here. Firstly, it's Serbian prosciutto. It's an analog of Spanish jamón and Italian prosciutto, sun-dried cured pork ham cut into thin, tender slices. Secondly, two types of cheese. By the way, in Serbia, only white cheese is called cheese. And what we are used to call cheese, the yellow one, hard yellow kinds, they call it kačkavalj in Serbia. Here we have cheese called Belgrader, a sort that is named after the city of Belgrade, and I really like it and always recommend our guests to taste it. Another sort of dairy produce that is loved in Serbia and by me personally too, it's the kajmak. Kajmak is a dairy product made of whole milk, something in between sour cream and butter. Very fatty cream, rich in flavor. Kajmak is very tasty to spread over fresh bread, and just have it on the side with coffee or some main course. And of course, vegetable snacks. Ivor is vegetable caviar made of red bell peppers that are first grilled and then ground with oil and salt. Traditional classic ivor has only 3 ingredients: peppers themselves, oil and salt. It's also very tasty with bread, meat and any of your favorite food. And of course, with all of this splendor, I always suggest to the guest to try fresh bread from the bakery that was baked literally this morning. When you come to Belgrade and to any Serbian town, you'll be surprised how many bakeries are here. Literally at every corner. Serbs really love freshly baked goods. The most important thing you need to know if you want to relax Serbian style, you don't need to rush anywhere. Sit down, pour yourself a cup of fragrant coffee, take some snacks, and do not rush anywhere. Things can wait. Everybody does it here. And you should try. You'll like it. That's it. I pass the word to Jana. We're glad that you are a guest in our wonderful country. Do come back again.
Thank you very much, guys, for this relay. It was really interesting, and I continue exploring Belgrade. In my search for silence, I headed to the most popular park in the capital. The Romans once quarried here, and the Turks call this park a field of stones, or Tashmaydan. And Belgrade residents love this park for beauty, quietness, well-groomed area and unusual statues. But I came here for a completely different reason. This park has found some place for Russian history too. Everybody strives to see the St. Mark's Church, because it is really picturesque. But I decided to pop into a small Russian church, which has snuggled up to this temple. General Wrangel is buried here, one of the leaders of the White Movement in the period of Russian Civil War. Here you can also see a piece of Cesarevich Alexei's shawl. It's hard to even imagine what way did this piece of cloth had to make before it ended up here in Belgrade. Traveling is not always carefree fun. The history of Belgrade also has plenty of tragic events, and Tashmaydan Park is as if a keeper for those sorrowful memories. It's very sad when you see such sculptures. It is in memory of the children that were killed during the aggression in 1999. And this inscription, "We were just children," gives me goosebumps all over body. It's sad.
Today, NATO aviation has dropped bombs on Serbia. The alliance is hitting military objects, but it is the civilian population that suffers the most.
The bombing lasted for 78 days. Those events took lives of hundreds of innocent people. Everything in Belgrade is permeated with the friendship of Serbs and Russians. At some point it begins to feel like your home. Serbia has two flags, with a coat of arms with a double-headed eagle, and without the coat of arms. The regular tricolor is considered a people's one, and with the crest is the official one. Notice, Serbian flag is really similar to the Russian flag, just inverted. Our kinship is also evident in the language. Many words will be understandable to those speaking Russian. But be careful, they could have a completely different meaning. For instance, harmful translates to Serbian as useful, shame means attention, and right is straight. Also, you shouldn't say chicken and smoking in Russian, as they sound like Serbian obscene words. And for instance, a restaurant that is called Tri kuma debela, three fat godfathers. The capital of brotherly Serbia lies on steep hills. Often to get from one district to another, you have to overcome so many climbs and descents that you begin to feel yourself a mountain skier. It was completely unexpected to me that around the world Serbians are famous for raspberries. However, it's not that cheap in Serbia itself. Among other things, 1/3 of world raspberries are produced in Serbia. Imagine 30% of raspberries are produced here in this small, cozy country. And here in the market, it costs 800 dinars per kilo. Noisy and vivid Belgrade has a district that sticks out of the overall picture. It is hard to recognize the country's capital in it. Zemun definitely is unlike the main part of Belgrade, and you see it instantly when you get here. Comparing to the modern, dynamic capital of Serbia, Zemun, I'd even say it's provincial place. Here it really has this village atmosphere. Here it is, the most authentic district of Belgrade. Once the Romans used to live here. Their settlement was called Taurunum. Then Hungarians came here. In the past, Zemun was an independent city, which was nearly as significant as Belgrade. Only in the 20th century, Zemun became a district in the capital, but it seems it still doesn't want to merge with Belgrade architecture. It's a pity that the weather doesn't permit us to enjoy the views of all these gingerbread houses. It would all be great if not for the rain, because the rain gets in the way of filming. I worry about the camera. Quick, let's hide it. However, great photos come out from under the rain too. Don't forget to subscribe to my Instagram. There all my travels are always live and you will know where am I in the current moment. You can hide from the rain in the Gardosh Tower. At the same time, see Zemun from the bird's eye view. The best Zemun viewing platform is on the Gardosh Tower. We're headed right there. Entry costs 200 dinars and they give you this booklet ticket. Let's go upstairs. So beautiful. Those tiled red roofs create such a cozy atmosphere. It's a pity it's raining. I reckon in sunny weather it would be just marvelous. The sky would be blue, bright river, there would be people, though that might be a con. It's beautiful anyway. In the past, it used to be a fire tower. It's 36 meters high. It's basically a 12-story house. When I climbed up here, I saw these bricks written over. I thought, what vandals do this stuff? Then I looked closer. It turned out that these are the names of the people who inscribed over those bricks in the 40s, 50s, 60s, even 30s. Imagine nearly 100 years passed and their names still remain. Belgrade, let me tell you, doesn't stand out with vivid colors. The color palette is modest. But it's worth coming here not just to enjoy the architecture, but more for the amazing atmosphere of the Slavic city. It's time to bid farewell to Serbia, a country where I could dive into an atmosphere of selfless hospitality and sincere cordiality. Now I can say with confidence that Belgrade is unlike any other city I have ever been to. Here, the incongruous is combined in an amazing way. Medieval buildings and modern business centers, old mansions and socialist residential areas, grandeur and provinciality. And all this forms a unique look of the city. Do visit this wonderful country and this ancient city. You won't regret it. And I'm traveling on. You've been watching Jan Buyan. Hit the like button, comment and of course subscribe to my channel. With me you'll definitely miss the places you haven't yet been to. See you!
Thank you.